Good evening. We'll have the opportunity. Good evening. As chair of the Gwinnett County Board of Education, I hereby call to order the January 15th, 2026 business meeting of the board. I extend a warm welcome to everyone present for tonight's meeting. The board, Dr. Taylor, and I are pleased that you have joined us as we celebrate achievements, review information, and make policy decisions related to the effective operation of Gwinnett County Public Schools. Before we begin, I'd like to draw your attention to the screen on my left, where you'll see the school board's core beliefs and commitments, which will be on display during our business school board meetings. These statements aren't just words. They reflect the guiding principles that shape every decision we make and every goal we set. They serve as a compass for our district, reminding us of our shared responsibility to foster a learning environment where every student can thrive. I encourage you to take a moment to read them carefully, as they are central to the work we do together as educators, leaders, and community members. As part of the board's new meeting schedule, the board held its monthly work session earlier this week. During work sessions, board members take time to learn more about student learnings, school operations, and district initiatives, and to talk through topics that may come before the board at the business meeting. You can view the full work session recording now on our website, and meeting materials and reports on the board agenda online next week. The monthly business meetings of the board are open to the public. We are grateful for the number of people interested in our schools who are in attendance tonight. This business meeting is when the board conducts its business of governing the school system in a public arena. The business meetings are not meetings with the public. Therefore, comments from the audience will be confined to the time designated for citizens to address the board, according to policy BCBI. Speakers are encouraged to maintain appropriate meeting decorum, follow appropriate protocols, protect the confidentiality of students, prevent defamatory statements, and ensure the impartiality of the board. The board requests that speakers not directly speak about individual students, parents, or staff members. Thank you for embracing these qualities and modeling them for our children in our community during tonight's meeting. Please silence your cell phones or communication devices before we begin our proceedings. I would like to call to the podium Senior Pastor Tito Ruiz at Stone Mill Church, Atlanta, in Berkeley Lake, to lead us into a moment of reflection, followed by the Peachtree Ridge High School Navy JROTC, under the leadership of Commander Jimmy Melton, United States Navy retired, and Senior Chief Petty Officer Mark Vinson, United States Navy retired, who will present the colors and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Tito Ruiz.
Good evening, Chair Dr. Simmons, board members, and Dr. Taylor. I want to ask everyone to please stand. My name is Pastor Tito Ruiz, and I serve as Stone Mill Church Atlanta. We are a fully bilingual church in the Gwinnett area at Berkeley Lake Chapel. And I bring greetings from our church family to each and every one of you, and thank you for inviting us to be part of this meeting. I've said this in the past, but I would also like to share that every quarter we gather a group of pastors from across the county to pray specifically for each and every one of you, and for teachers in the county, for students and staff. So thank you for everything that you do. As we come together, may we demonstrate wisdom, integrity, respect, and grace in our interactions with one another. Let us also acknowledge the many good things around us and the ways that we can continue to be a blessing to others. Thank you to those in the audience who lend their leadership and service to our schools and our community. We extend appreciation to the many people, families, teachers, staff, and community members who support public school education and the students of Gwinnett County. Finally, let's keep our children of Gwinnett County in mind as we speak, act, and make decisions tonight. With that in mind, I invite you to join me in a moment of silence for personal reflection about our students, our schools, district, and our greater community. Thank you. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hand over heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Pastor Reese. And the Peachtree Ridge High School Navy JROTC for being part of this meeting. Each year at the January meeting, the Board of Education is required by policy to do the following: elect officers of the board for the year. These officers are the chair and vice chair. Reaffirm and re-adopt the district's board policies, set its official meeting schedule for the calendar year, appoint the board's official legal counsel attorney for the year, and select a newspaper as the official legal posting organ for the district. We will now proceed with the election of board officers. Now I will accept any names the board wishes to nominate for the position of board chair for 2026. I nominate Dr. Therese Johnson for the position of board chair for 2026.
Second.
Do we have any other nominations? All in favor of Dr. Therese Johnson Morgan as board chair for 2026, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. I now turn the meeting over to our chair for 2026, Dr. Therese Johnson Morgan.
Now I will accept any names. Sorry, y'all, part of the process. Now, we will accept any names the board wishes to nominate for the position of board vice chair for 2026. I nominate Dr. Adrienne Simmons for the position of board vice chair for 2026.
I second the nomination.
Do we have any other nominations? All in favor of Dr. Adrian Simmons as Vice Chair for 2026 signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed, say nay. All in favor of Dr. Adrian Simmons as Vice Chair for 2026 signify by saying aye. We already did that. And congratulations to our Vice Chair, Dr. Adrian Simmons. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you to our board for your support and your confidence in our leadership as we continue the process of leading the board. We now move next to the reaffirmation and readoption of board policies. At this time, we must reaffirm and readopt the board's policies. For the benefit of the audience, I would like to note that this action may be one of the most significant things we do tonight. The board is responsible for the effective governance of the school district, and the policies we adopt are essential in carrying out that responsibility. Our work with the Reform Governance and Action Program that we began in July 2006 has helped us appreciate even more the importance of our policy-making role and how crucial it is that we have not only effective operational policies, but also reform policies that lead to increases in student achievement. In reaffirming and readopting its policies each year, the board is, in effect, reaffirming its commitment to ensuring that the district continues to be operationally effective and relentlessly focused on school improvement in the interest of higher academic achievement for every student. Also want to take the privilege to say that we have now a board policy advisory committee that consists of community members, families, students, and school administrators. And this committee is dedicated also to the adoption of policies, reform, new editing, in a way that can meet the needs of each and every child. Ms. Stone and I have been working very closely together with leading that policy committee, and we're very proud to share that this is also part of our reaffirmation of the work of the board, which foundationally is policy making. Board members, I need a motion.
I make a motion to reaffirm and readopt the board's policies for 2026.
I have a motion by Ms. Stone. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded by Mr. Knissen. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Okay, it's unanimous. We now move to the ratification of the 2026 board meeting calendar. The next item calls for adoption of the board's calendar of official monthly business sessions for 2026. A proposed list of dates was provided in December for the board's approval. It calls for us to hold our official monthly work sessions on the third Tuesday of each month, and the executive sessions and business meetings on the third Thursday of each month, with the exception of February and September, when the meetings will be held on the second and fourth week of the month, respectively. Additionally, we are recommending that prior to ratifying the 2026 board meeting calendar, the calendar approved in the December board meeting be amended to reflect the changes to the March and May board meeting dates. Due to a scheduling conflict, the board is recommending that the board change the business meeting from March 19th to March 18th or March 26th. Due to a conflict with the graduation schedule, staff is recommending that the board change the work session from May 19th, 2026 to May 12th, 2026, and the business meeting from May 21st, 2026 to May 14th, 2026. Upon approval of this recommendation, the ratified calendar will include these changes. The monthly work session will begin at 6 p.m. and the monthly business meetings will begin at 7 p.m. in the boardroom at the Instructional Support Center in Sewanee. Preceding the monthly business meeting, the board will hold an executive session in the executive boardroom at the Instructional Support Center. Tonight, board members, we need to ratify the calendar of official board meeting dates of 2026 that were adopted in December with the amended dates. Do I have a motion to that effect?
I make a motion to ratify the 2026 board meeting calendar as amended, with the March date being moved to March 18th and the May dates as specified.
I have a motion by Dr. Simmons. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor say aye. 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 Any opposed say nay. Is there any discussion? All opposed say nay. All in favor
What-
say aye.
I have a quick
Oh,
question.
you have a
Was there-
discussion?
Yes, discussion. I know there are two dates on here. I know we talked about the two different dates, March 18th or March 26th. Was there a reason why the 26th wasn't in strong consideration, or, I'm just curious.
Did you want me to speak
Well,
to
I
that?
can say for me, the March 18th date, I could support that. The Tuesdays and Thursday dates outside of our regularly scheduled dates for me are quite challenging there, as we've already created our schedule for the year around those dates, and I've already confirmed those. But if the majority of the board decides on the other date, I would support that. I do prefer the 18th myself.
Before executive session, I was able to chat with some other board members, and it seemed like the 18th was best. I know I didn't get a chance to connect with you. Is that a conflict?
No, not a conflict. I was just curious.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We now move to the appointment of the board attorney. Board members, each of year, the board appoints a law firm that will serve as its legal counsel for the calendar year. Attorneys from the firm of Pereira, Kirby, Kissinger, and Wynn, LLP, currently serve as the board's attorneys. The superintendent recommends the appointment of Pereira, Kirby, Kissinger, and Wynn to serve as board attorneys for the coming year. I need a motion to approve the appointment of Pereira, Kirby, Kissinger, and Wynn as the board legal counsel for 2026.
I make a motion to approve the continuing employment of law firm Pereira, Kirby, Kissinger, and Nguyen LLP as the board's legal counsel for 2026.
I have a motion by Mr. Gasper. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Knudsen. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. It's unanimous. We now move to the designation of official legal posting organ. During 2025, the official legal posting organ for the board was the Gwinnett Daily Post. Georgia law requires certain office public meeting notices to be posted in the designated newspaper to ensure the public is informed and we meet legal requirements. The Gwinnett Daily Post has submitted a request to continue as the school system's official legal posting organ, a capacity in which it has served for several years. Do I have a motion to approve the designation of the Gwinnett Daily Post as the board's official legal posting organ for the year?
I make a motion to approve the Gwinnett Daily Post as the school board's official legal posting organ for 2026.
I have a motion by Mr. Knudsen. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Gasper. Is there any discussion? I have a discussion point. I want to make clear that, as you all noticed in the posting of our legal organ, we use the Gwinnett Daily Post to publicize what is required of us to publicize for our meetings. That is required by law, and it's also connected with the county of Gwinnett County. And so I want to make clear that as a legal requirement for us in our connection with the county, we must have a legal organ to officially post our meetings and notices. It does not specify that we have to only work for them for our media and communications. This is specifically for posting our board meetings. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. It's unanimous. We move next to student public comments. Students addressing the board will notice 2 side podiums. Please proceed to the podium closest to you where you are sitting. At this time, Jasmine Cavallero, please approach the podium. And then Jackson Cavallero, you are up next to at the other podium. You are allotted a maximum of 3 minutes for comments.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jasmine Cavallero, and I'm a 5th grade student at Ivy Creek Elementary. I am proud to be a student at Gwinnett County Public Schools, a district that is known for being a leader in education and technology. Over the past year, I've seen this board take a bold step towards improving our safety by installing weapon detectors in all our high schools and middle schools. I looked this up online, and you state the data from the district's pilot program show that these systems are fast, effective, and non-intrusive. They have successfully detected dangerous items while allowing thousands of students to enter their buildings every morning without delay. I want to thank you for that investment. But you all know that I'm here to address that big fat gap in our safety program. Today, our elementary schools remain the only building without screening. I am here to ask the board to take the money you get from East Blos and finish the expansion and install weapon detectors in every elementary school. Some might argue that elementary schools are safe havens, where such technology isn't needed. But we know that safety challenges don't follow by an age limit. By leaving our elementary schools out, we are really saying that younger students require less protection from being shot. I believe every student in Gwinnett, from the 5-year-old in kindergarten to the 18-year-old senior, deserves to walk through a shield before they reach their desk. There are 2 major reasons why this expansion should continue right now. First, it transforms our school from reactive to proactive. Right now, we spend a lot of time practicing how to hide during lockdown drills. While these drills aren't necessary, they are based on the idea that the threat has already entered the building. The detector at the front door changes the conversation. It stops the problem before it ever reaches our classrooms. Finally, it protects our mental health. Students today carry the weight of the world on their shoulders, more than you did when you were a kid. When we see a visible AI security system, it does not make us feel afraid. It makes us feel cared for. It acts as a green light for our brains, signaling that it is finally safe to stop worrying and start learning. Thank you for your time, your leadership, and for listening to the students who are the heart of this district. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Jackson Cavallero and then Jordan Cavallero.
You want to come here or go there?
Good evening. My name is Jackson Cavallero, and I'm a 2nd grade student at Ivy Creek Elementary School. I care very much about my school and the people in it. I believe it's important to talk about how we can make our school an even better and safer place for everyone. My school is a wonderful community where we all learn and grow together. To make sure it always stays that way, we need to think about ways to help everyone feel secure and happy. My school is a wonderful place where we learn to read, do math, and play with our friends. It's supposed to be a safe place where we can just focus on growing up and learning new things. But I know that sometimes schools and other places have problems. Even though my teachers try to make me feel safe, thinking about those problems make me and my friends worry sometimes. It's scary to think that someone might bring a gun to school and try to shoot someone. We want to stop bad things from happening before they even start. My idea is for our school to get weapon detectors, like metal detectors you see at big airports or when you go to a big sports game. Last month, my dad came here and talked about making pillars for our school district. One of them is equity, and I wasn't quite sure what that meant, so I learned about it. Equity is being fair for everyone all the time with no strings attached. So how are you using equity here? By not putting weapon detectors in elementary? It sounds like the children in middle and high school are worth protecting, and I'm not. If we had one right at the front door of our school, it could help make sure that only safe things come into our school. It's an extra safety step, a way to help everyone, kids, teachers, and parents feel a little more relaxed and safe while we learn and play. Making our school the safest place it can be is important to me. So, this is my idea I just shared with you today. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Jordan?
Good evening. My name is Jordan Cavallero, and I am in kindergarten at Ivy Creek Elementary School. I want weapon detectors at my school. Weapon detectors can, 1, keep us safe, 2, help to stop bad things from coming in, 3, make me feel happy when I come into school. When my school is safe, I can learn better. I can play with my friends and listen to my teacher. I love my school and I want everyone to stay safe. Thank you for listening and good night.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments, students. Now we will move to the next item on the agenda, which is the adoption of our agenda. Dr. Taylor, do you have any changes to the agenda?
I have no changes to the agenda.
Board members, are there any changes to the agenda? Okay. I need a motion regarding the agenda. Do I have a motion from our board?
I make a motion to adopt the agenda of the January 15th, 2026 business meeting.
I have a motion by Mr. Gasper. Do I have a second?
I second.
Seconded by Dr. Simmons. All in favor say aye. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. It's unanimous. Next, we will move to board recognitions. Dr. Taylor?
Thank you, Chairperson Dr. Therese. For our first recognition, I call on Julie Saunders, Director of Library Media Services. Ms. Saunders, the podium is yours.
Dr. Therese Johnson Morgan, board members, and Dr. Taylor. It is an honor tonight to recognize another state championship win for school library programs. My name is Julie Saunders, and I am the Director of Library Media Services. My department supports 240 library media staff members and 140 school libraries. Today's libraries look very different from those of the past, offering far more than book access as students engage in innovative programming that sparks curiosity and creativity through STEM activities, emerging technologies, information and media literacy lessons, 3D printing, podcasting, pop-up museums, and much more. We have very high expectations and standards for our libraries, and our librarians are recognized as leaders both statewide and nationally. With that in mind, I want to honor someone who not only leads one of the most engaging library programs in our district, but has also developed a library media program recognized as the most exemplary elementary school library program in the state of Georgia. Over the next few minutes, I would like to highlight Parsons Elementary School librarian Sharon Britt, who is accompanied by Principal Lenny George, Library Media Clerk Tricia Ripley, and GLMA President Megan Ford. Sharon and Tricia foster a strong reading culture at Parsons Elementary by promoting student choice and frequent access to books, leveraging interactive tools such as Novel Effect, iVox, Sora, and Beanstack, and supporting active participation in the Gwinnett Readers Rally, the nation's largest in-person reading bowl. Sharon collaborates with teachers across grade levels to deliver enrichment experiences, including virtual field trips and in-person programs with partners such as the UGA Extension, the National Archives, and local museums and parks, and works with the public library to expand programming, digital resources, and summer reading opportunities. Sharon's instructional program promotes district research tools, integrates media literacy through podcast and inquiry-based learning, and provides a makerspace focused on critical thinking along with hands-on learning experiences and traveling exhibits. I would like to congratulate Sharon Britt for being recognized with the Judy Saratella Exemplary Elementary School Library Program Award for the state of Georgia. Thank you to Dr. Taylor and the board for this opportunity to recognize excellence. We are grateful for your continued support of school libraries in Gwinnett County Public Schools. Thank you.
Congratulations to you, Ms. Britt, on this recognition and your dedication to library media programs and to our students. And of course, we thank you as well, Ms. Saunders. For our next two recognitions, I call on Jason Holcomb, Director of Athletics. Mr. Holcomb.
Good evening. Chairperson Dr. Therese, Interim Superintendent Dr. Taylor, and members of the Board of Education. It is an honor to be here for you tonight as the Director of Athletics and recognize our school's achievements and continued support for our co-curricular and extracurricular activities. Keeping students engaged with co- and extracurricular activities leads directly to student success. The students who are engaged in these programs attend school at a higher rate, have better behavior, graduate, and persist better after graduation. Tonight, we have two different groups that we are pleased to bring before the board. The first program is the Collins Hill High School Game Day Cheerleading Program that is the 2025 6A Game Day State Champions. Through the years, GHSA has expanded to include more activities to encourage students to become more involved with their local school. One of those activities was Game Day Cheerleading. Game Day Cheerleading requires specialized skill, a specific set of athletic achievements, pride in one's school, and an ability to keep the crowd into a game no matter what the scoreboard says. After many months of hard work, the Collins Hill Game Day Cheerleading Squad won the GHSA State Championship in 6A, and it is the first ever cheerleading state championship in Collins Hill history. Tonight with the program is Principal Lee Ogman, and to introduce and say something about it is their athletic director, Byron Mulkey.
Good evening, Board Chairperson Dr. Therese Johnson Morgan, board members, Superintendent Dr. Taylor. Since the sanctioning of Game Day Cheer in Georgia, our program has epitomized what it means to build a program. Since we began on that journey, we've been non-finalists to state finalists to state runner-up. In their time, their sacrifices, their sweat equity has earned them their first ever state championship. But at the end of that accomplishment, in some ways the work was just beginning. They wanted to extend their season. And their persistence, and along with support from community stakeholders, they've earned the opportunity to represent the state on a national stage, which is a first for any cheer team in Georgia. Coach Burkhead, Coach Clabo, members of the team, they truly are a great asset to the culture of our community and school. And in addition to that, a team GPA average of 3.7, not only is this a great representation for our school, but just a great representation of what it is to be a student athlete. So we say congratulations to them, but as the journey continues, we wish them the best of luck as they compete in February, and we know they'll represent us well. Thank y'all.
Eagles, if you will turn around for a picture for your parents. Best of luck next month in Orlando, ladies. Go get them. And last but not least, our second honor for tonight. we have the pleasure of our Gwinnett Heat program. The Gwinnett Heat is one of the shining stars in our athletic programs, along with the group that you just saw come up here tonight. The work is intentional in finding ways to help students become more engaged through sports, no matter the challenges they may face. Here to introduce the GHSA and the AAASP State Coach of the Year for Adaptive Sports is Assistant Director of Athletics, Mr. Corey Collier.
Good evening, Chairperson Dr. Therese, Interim Superintendent Dr. Taylor, and members of the board. The Coach of the Year Award is given out each year by the GHSA in every sport. Coach Lynn Boudreau, along with assistant coaches Coach Dane Weigel and Lynette Swanson, have served as the head coach and assistant coaches for the Gwinnett Heat for 15 years in wheelchair basketball, football, and handball for our adapted sport student athletes. During that time, his teams have amassed 238 wins while earning 5 varsity state championships and 10 junior varsity state championships. More importantly, Coach Boudreau has dedicated his career to help provide access to athletic extracurricular activities for students who have an orthopedic impairment as defined by the American Association of Adapted Sports Programs. This year, Coach Boudreau was the State of Georgia Coach of the Year for all varsity sports, adapted sports, which includes wheelchair handball, wheelchair basketball, wheelchair football, and wheelchair track and field. He was honored at the Aspire Awards in October, along with being recognized at the GHSA State Football High School Championships in December at Mercedes-Benz Stadium by the Georgia High School Association and the American Association of Adaptive Sports Programs. We are super proud of the work that Coach Lynn has put into the Gwinnett Heat, and we look forward to the future success of the program. Thank you. Coach Lynn.
Congratulations to the Collins Hills cheerleaders on your first state title, and to Mr. Boudreau for your commitment with our adaptive student athletes. And thank you as well, Mr. Holcomb. Chair Dr. Therese.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. At this time, those recognized for their achievements may quietly leave the boardroom or stay for the remainder of the meeting. We move now to the consent agenda for items for approval. The consent agenda allows for the Board of Education to act on routine items of business as a series. Our first item on the consent agenda is 7.02, purchase orders. This is an informational item and is comprised of a monthly report that lists all purchase orders of $2,000 or more. For each item, the following are identified: the vendor, items purchased, destination of the items, budget account, dollar amount, and method of purchase. Board members, are there any comments or questions?
I do have a couple of questions. I noticed that we have a line item for the purchase of lockers for Mary Kay Murphy Middle School. And this question just comes on the heels of my understanding is that lockers are not used anymore, and maybe that's just in my kids' schools, but just wanted to know where the district stands on locker use across the county. Are students using lockers in some schools and not others?
And then I have a follow-up to that question. My understanding is also some students may have to pay for the use of lockers, so if you can also address that in your questions.
Thank you for that question, Dr. Simmons. I do know we've been reducing the number of lockers. I have to be honest with you, I don't know off the top of my head what's going into Mary Kay Murphy, so I'll follow up with the board on that.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Can you speak a little louder for me?
I'm so sorry. Thank you for that question. I have to admit, I know we have been reducing the number of lockers we've been putting in our schools, but I have to admit I don't know it off the top of my head how many we're putting in at Mary Kay Murphy. So I'll have to follow up with the board through a separate communication. I apologize.
So we still install lockers, so
We do.
expectation is that some students use lockers, but not all? Help me to understand.
I think there's been a hesitancy to reduce them to 0. I do know that over time, I know this is true at our newest high school, Seconder, we've reduced the total number of lockers we've been putting in.
Meaning there's not a one-to-one, meaning that all students are not expected to use them.
That students don't, in fact, use them that often, so the demand's just not there as much. But I'll find out specifics on the middle school. I know Chief Nebel can answer the question related to fees.
So specific to middle schools first, since the original question was Murphy, we've seen, as we've kind of reduced our requirement of actual hard textbooks and moved to more online resources, students less and less using their lockers. Students still, of course, have the opportunity to use those lockers if they choose to do so, but what we've seen just in the practical day-to-day use of them, it's much less frequent. There is still on contribution forms an opportunity for students to spend, I can't remember the fee, Dr. Simmons or Dr. Therese, very small amount to reserve a locker or to pay for the maintenance of a locker. However, we do not withhold from students the opportunity to utilize lockers. At the high school, as Chief Burke indicated, we do see less use by our students as well. For instance, my high school daughter does not use her locker at all. Less lockers were installed at Seconder as a result, but all students do have access to one if they wish to use one.
So to follow up, for the students who can pay, who can afford to pay for the lockers, they're the ones who have access to the lockers. And at the Mary Kay Murphy Middle School, the lockers will be free.
Sorry, I just received some more information from our purchasing department, property and purchasing. And Mr. Cruz was coming up to tell me that this is for PE lockers only at Mary Kay Murphy. But I'll follow up on the other question regarding general use lockers.
So the lockers being purchased are for PE only, not for the hallways to be used between classes by students?
For this purchase order, but let me follow up with the board on general lockers.
So just to bring it up a level, I just want to be clear around, that the district is being intentionally thoughtful around where it stands with locker use. And just wanting an explanation so I can be clear as I'm communicating to others, wanting to unveil whether there is a disparity, whereas some schools require payment and some don't, so that is of interest. And then additionally, as we think about the health of students, I don't know if there's been any look into whether or not students are impacted medically by carrying even what they are carrying. I understand they don't have textbooks, but I know a lot of students carry their laptops, their water bottles, their sports equipment, and I've had parents that have reached out with that concern. I don't know if the district has received any complaints about that from students and or parents, and if a student does have a medical type of excuse, are they given a locker free of charge? That's where my thinking was going with the question.
And I can add, so in middle school and high school are going to be a little bit different. So middle school, traditionally the lockers are actually in classrooms, like in the homeroom. High school, they're in the hallway. The fees, it's a nominal fee for usually maintenance and rekeying at the end of the year, or calibrating the locker combination. But there should never be a situation where a student who can't afford to purchase a locker, that prohibits them from being able to get a locker. We will certainly work through any of those hiccups. What we do find, particularly as we've moved to the one-to-one and use the digital resources, the use of lockers is it's just not as pervasive as it used to be. There are some students who still want to have the locker, but the transition into that digital space, it's lessened the necessity for lockers in the actually in the hallways. The locker rooms, though, where in Murphy K middle school, that's where we still need them, to be able to house the clothes that they're changing into and so forth. So.
And Dr. Simmons, to your question around the weight of book bags, absolutely true. Even in the absence of traditional textbooks, in addition to the items you listed that many of our kids carry, a lot of them feel the need to have a notebook for every single class, right? Which also leads to the increase in bulk in those backpacks. Intermittently, we do receive emails from constituents about concerns about the weight of their children's backpack, and in those cases what we do is we reach out to the school and we ensure that one of their trusted adults at the school has a conversation with that student. A lot of times it's our younger middle schoolers also where we see that. It's their first time there, just on how to kind of navigate that in-between class transition time in a way that they feel comfortable. They're oftentimes nervous they're going to be late, so they take everything with them. So sometimes it's just kind of that nurturing hand that someone in the building needs to lend to them. But on occasion, we do receive those emails and we direct those back to the local school.
I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
I have another Mary Kay Murphy question. And I love that we're opening a new school because it is giving us the opportunity to understand what goes into opening a school. I noticed that we had some line items aligned to musical equipment. I wondered what that total is and if we were able to, I'm curious around the total in comparison to what we've invested in other schools, and if it's comparable and or if we are experiencing an increase in how much we're spending, perhaps as it pertains to tariffs.
I may ask our purchasing department to come forward because they really handle those types of BL items. It's not within the construction scope.
So as he's coming forward, there were, I think, quite a few line items aligned to musical equipment for Mary Kay Murphy. And so I'm wanting to get a confirmation of what that total is, if that's available, how it compares to how we've equipped other schools, and then if we're seeing an increase in the pricing as a result of tariffs there.
No, thank you for that question. We do follow a basic equipment list, which is across the board for a middle school. We have seen increases in the price of musical instruments due to the tariffs, but we are not adding more equipment. It's just same equipment that goes into every basic equipment list for the middle school. So we actually use the same equipment that comes from our Director of Fine Arts, their list.
I appreciate that. I noticed we have one other line item at $1.6 million for Oracle America Incorporated software. Can you all provide some insight on that particular software?
Good evening. Thank you for that question. That was a consent agenda item that was approved last month for PeopleSoft, which is our ERP solution, Enterprise Resource Planning. That's what our business and finance team used to manage the budget, and our HR staff used to manage all of our district staff information.
So that amount is typical, that the amount of
Yes.
the line item is typical? Okay.
Yes.
Lastly, Reality Works medical supplies. Several schools are receiving those supplies. Can someone just provide some additional description? I'm curious, are those supplies specific to a particular medical issue?
Good evening. The Reality Works support our CTAE programs, so those supplies are used to equip our healthcare programs in our schools, for the schools that are listed there who have those programs in their building.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Therese. Thank you.
All right, so the items on the consent agenda are 7.03, Certificate of Completion, 7.04, Shiloh Middle School Permanent Sanitary Sewer Easement and Utility Assignment, is 7.05, Lockstep Palo Alto, 7.06, Approval of Minutes for Special Called Meeting held on December 6, 2025, Second Public Hearing on Redistricting held on December 18, 2025, and the Monthly Business Meeting held on December 18, 2025. Do I have a motion regarding the actions on the consent agenda?
I make a motion that we approve items 7.03 to 7.06 on the consent agenda.
Motion made by Mr. Knudsen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Stone. Is there any discussion?
I have one question here around 7.04, Shiloh Middle School Permanent Sanitary Sewer Easement. I'm wanting to be reminded, is this the school where we had a sewage issue over the summer right before school opened up? And is this addressing that issue at all?
Thank you for the question, Dr. Simmons. No, it was actually the two other Shiloh schools. This was not impacted by that event, those separate events, which were not related to one another. This was just given an easement to the utility, essentially to the sewer department, so they can maintain the sewer, and as issues occur, so they can maintain it, and if replacement is ever needed, they would have the right to do that.
And it's no cost to the district, the school district, right?
No,
Thank
no,
you.
it was picked up during our plan review process for the addition, so it's just normal order of business to have those easements in place.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And real quick, Mr. Burke, does this have any impact on any of the easements on our property line for the school or any directional traffic right-of-ways to the school at all? Because I noticed it was a fairly large section of land that we were giving up.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. It's purely the area where they need to maintain the sewer infrastructure so that it's, and again, this is typical order of business. It probably should have been in place to begin with, but it was picked up during plan review.
Thank you.
All in favor say aye. Any
Aye.
opposed say nay. It's unanimous. We now move to the superintendent report. Dr. Taylor.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. Therese, before we get started with the first report, I did want to bring to your attention, during the work session on Tuesday, we talked about doing the discipline presentation in February. We're going to have to push that to March. There was an unexpected conflict. We've already confirmed that Dr. Welsh will be with us on site in March. In place of, we'll be substituting the instructional resource material presentation for sex ed during the work session on that Tuesday.
Board members, any comment, discussion? No, I appreciate having the conversation around the health education. That's something we've been waiting on for a while, so I do look forward to that. And also, I know Ms. Stone brought up last week, no, it was a couple of days ago, preferring in particular the discipline report. So given that the conflict and having Dr. Welch here on site, I think it would be certainly helpful for us to be able to have him here presenting. And I know, Dr. Simmons, you were also mentioning about the expertise of Dr. Welch and the discipline kind of expertise that he has at Vanderbilt. So just look forward to that.
I look forward to it as well. I believe that Tuesday we mentioned, we were also considering an iReady report.
Yes.
Do we have a work session scheduled for April already, or are you all going to just submit that information in an update?
Both. The thought was the iReady presentation may end up going long like the CCRPI, so it may be beneficial to do that during the governance team training so we have a little bit more time. If not, we can just roll that over into the next month's work session. But the governance team training will give a little bit more time to go a little deeper and maybe give a chance for not rushed questions. Yeah. All right, so at this time, we will have Chief Human Resources Officer Kathy Harden provide an update for staff reports. Chief Harden.
Good evening, Chairperson Dr. Therese, members of the board, and Interim Superintendent Dr. Taylor. The HR team and I are pleased to present the Human Resources Report for the month of January. Through our report today, you will hear how the Division of Human Resources is partnering with schools to achieve the objectives outlined in Goal 1C, 2C, and Goal 3B, which calls us to transform human resources function into a strategic talent management organization that supports educators and staff to achieve district goals, in addition to ensuring equitable resource allocation to each local school. Teacher vacancy report. Currently, we have 9 teacher vacancies for the 25-26 school year. All teacher job postings for the 25-26 school year will be closed on January 30th. The recruitment team and HR directors are working closely with principals to fill our last teacher vacancies for this school year. The talent management team will now be focusing on recruiting and hiring for the 26-27 school year. Schools eligible for advanced hiring began posting requisitions on January 6th. The remaining schools will begin to submit job requisitions on February 3rd for the 26-27 school year. Hiring for these positions will not open until February 7th, the day of our certified teacher job fair. Since the last school board meeting in December, we have hired 17 teachers and posted 21 teacher job postings. You can see by the report the breakdown of the historical data for 25-26 and then the hiring trends month by month, November, December, and January, and then the historical trends on the other side of the page. Paraprofessional vacancies. This slide reflects our current paraprofessional vacancies shown alongside the same trend data as the teacher vacancies, both the year-to-date pattern and the 3-year trend for the month of January. We currently have 27 vacant paraprofessional positions for the 25-26 school year. You will notice an increase in the paraprofessional vacancies between December and January. A group of paraprofessionals did not meet the state and federal certification requirements before the end of the first semester. These paraprofessionals are now serving in a long-term substitute role until they complete their certification requirements. However, their position is reflected in the paraprofessional vacancy report, which explains the increase from the month of December. As with our teacher staffing approach, we continue to prioritize fit, readiness, and sustained support rather than filling vacancies quickly without alignment to the school needs. Our goal is to maintain strong instructional support in classrooms while continuing to invest in the pipeline that strengthens our future teacher workforce. The 25-26 school year hiring update. You can see here this slide shows the data regarding new teacher hires so far for the 25-26 school year. We have hired a total of 1,488 new teachers, and you can see the breakdown by elementary, middle, high, and special education. You can also see the hires by title and non-title. Substitute staffing update. The data from our substitute staffing team continues to show positive outcomes for the 25-26 school year. As requested, we have included historical substitute staffing data on this slide. 91.21% in 25-26 school year reporting as of January, 88.85% in Title I schools and 94.01% in non-title schools, 88.68% in 24-25 school year as of January, and 87.59% in the 23-24 school year. So you can see the year-by-year comparison. Our teacher attraction and recruitment. The recruitment team is highly engaged in continuing to recruit highly qualified talent for current vacancies as well as future vacancies. The team is continuously building the talent pipeline for the 26 hiring season. We held a student-teacher mixer on January 8th. The event was open to any student teacher who graduated in December of 25 or will graduate in May of 26. This event gave student teachers an opportunity to meet principals and begin building relationships with principals ahead of our signature event. We had 122 student teachers registered for that mixer, and in attendance, we had 61 student teachers in attendance. Our signature teacher job fair will be held on February 7th. Registration opened on December 1 and is still open on teamgcps.org, and we currently have 609 registered candidates so far for that event. One of our cornerstones of our approach is the use of data-driven insights. This allows us to take a highly targeted and strategic approach to recruitment. For example, we analyze workforce data to identify trends, anticipate staffing needs, and determine where our efforts will yield the greatest impact. Additionally, we leverage this data to guide our strategic marketing and advertising campaigns. By understanding where potential candidates are most likely to engage, whether it's through social media platforms, strategic marketing and advertising such as paid search, paid social media, or digital out-of-home, job boards, or local community networks, we can tailor our messaging and resources to effectively reach those audiences. This ensures that we maximize visibility and attract the right candidates for specific roles. This slide shows 2024 results and compares paid Google search and social media data from 23 to 24. An impression refers to the number of times our GCPS ad or content is displayed to a user. It doesn't mean the user interacted with it. It simply means it appeared on their screen. For example, if our ad shows up on someone's feed, but they don't click on it, it still counts as an impression. A click, on the other hand, occurs when a user actively interacts with our ad by clicking on it. This means they've shown interest and have been directed to our GCPS career site. So this slide gives a recap of our marketing strategy for the 2025 school year. And you can see, I won't read all of those off to you, but you can see total impressions for the year, 11,158,344 impressions by all of our combined recruitment efforts, and a total of 740,000 engaged clicks into our pipeline. Staff well-being. I wanted to really just highlight, I know that the board has, across the board, has been really encouraging us to have some concerted effort around employee well-being and mental health supports. And so we are exploring a service that provides proactive mental fitness services utilizing certified guides. This option empowers employees with proactive confidential support to navigate stress, relationships, and workplace challenges with confidence. We're also exploring a new EAP provider. This would allow up to 8 visits per person per year with a licensed clinician. The plan covers benefit-eligible employees or staff and anyone in their household. We're continuing to work with Northside Medical with their mobile mammography unit to visit throughout the district. The unit provides an opportunity for team members to receive breast screenings on site. In most cases, the screenings take less than 30 minutes from the intake to departure. Our next event is scheduled for a digital learning day to allow users access for the team members, and is centrally located within the county at Central Gwinnett High School. The location for the other scheduled dates are still to be determined. This concludes the Human Resources report for the month of January. Stand ready for any questions.
Board members, do I have a motion regarding the monthly Human Resources report? Okay, right here. Do we have any questions or comments?
If we could go to slide 6 about the substitute staffing update, I appreciate you for including that in the report, and just want to make sure that I understand what's being reported under substitutes. Is that the number of individual substitutes?
That is the number of substitutes that we have currently in the district on roster, yes. And then our fill rate, our average fill rate for this year is 91.21%.
So I know that's positive, a positive trend when the fill rate increases, because that means that we have substitutes that are actually being placed in classrooms where needed. How should we interpret the fact that the number of substitutes is increasing? Is there any impact, or is that to be expected, or should there be any concern
Well,
around
we-
that, or is that a good thing too?
It's a good thing. It's due to a concerted effort to hire more substitutes, as well as where we have maybe have had substitutes fall out due to lack of training, or they get on the job and it's not what they've expected. We've invested a lot in training our substitutes around student behaviors, how to communicate effectively with students. And so we've invested a lot around ensuring that they understand what they're going to experience when they get into the classroom.
So a good deal of these are probably substitutes that have been with us for years.
Absolutely.
I remember being a teacher and having my favorites year after year, so I'm glad to hear that we are retaining substitutes as well as retaining staff. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chief Harden, for this excellent report. And I love that you continue to bring forward the historical trends, because it really shows the great job that you and your team are doing to not only create value for the employees that we are hiring and retaining and keeping those numbers down. I think it's slides 3 and 4 really is what I'm looking at, and I see it on all one page, but I know you can't show them on the same screen up here at the same time. But again, it's just, you know, going back to 2023 teacher vacancy, if you want to show that slide, and then to today, just tells a great story. So thank you for the work that you're doing. The only comment that I had is going over to slide number 9, and I'm glad you put this slide up, because when I listened to you talk through slide 8, my head immediately went through all this great work that we're doing to advertise our openings, advertise the opportunities that we have. I know all that costs money. And all that is, you know, we're paying for impressions, we're paying for clicks. The quick math that I did was we have about a 6.6% click rate, and I know all that costs dollars. So I guess, you know, my ask is, and just to put in your mind, I won't talk about this tonight, get too laborious on this, but, you know, are we using our dollars in the right way in terms of, you know, looking at YouTube, you know, very, very small click rate? Is that super effective to advertise on YouTube?
That is probably one that will fall off of our strategy for
Okay.
26, 27.
Okay.
And that's why we have this data, and we do a monthly debrief
Great.
on this data, so
Okay.
that we can be nimble throughout the year, so that we're not tied to a medium the entire year if it's not yielding the results that we want to have. But I can tell you this click rate that we're seeing for GCPS is significantly higher than industry average. Industry average is about 2%.
So thank you for putting that into perspective, because I was kind of my next and final question was
I
how
heard
that
you
compares to the industry, because I'm a business
Yes.
guy too, and I think of industry perspective. So thank you. I'll yield my time.
Yeah, thanks, Chief Harden, for this great report. I too had the question mark on the click-through, but at the 6.6% that I calculated, knew it was higher
It is higher.
than the industry average, but I was going to ask you that question, so thanks for,
Yes.
thanks for answering that. One of the questions I had, it seems like that maybe this winter break, semester 1 to semester 2, might be the second highest time of the year when we have vacancies. Would that hold true?
Well, for this year, I would say we're probably in better shape this year coming into January than we have been. If you look at the trends for January, the last 3 years,
Right.
This is our best showing in the last 3 years.
Well, that's kind of what I was looking at. So my question was, it seems like if this is a year-over-year occurrence, are we anticipatory? Are we, you know, knowing that we've got to have a good group of folks in the hopper so that if it happens like we might expect it to, that we're ready to respond?
Well, we really don't know what our picture is going to look like until the vacancies get posted for the next year, which will happen in February. Then when contracts are issued, that really kind of makes the picture real around how many vacancies we're going to have. We can understand retention a lot better because we know who's planning to leave the district at the end of the year, who may have been managed out based on performance at the end of the year. And so Contract season really is when we can see a clear picture around what we can expect from a recruitment perspective. But our goal is to keep our pipeline robust at all times, because you never know where the fluctuation is going to happen.
Yeah, okay. I figured that's, the last question that I had was, a few months ago, I think we were in one of our meetings, and there you had actually mentioned that some of the things the state was doing from a student spend on mental health was being pulled back.
Yes.
But I would also say that even though that was the case, the discussion over the last few years has been almost exclusively around student mental health. I want to applaud your efforts here to address our staff's mental health. And so I think that is awesome. I think that's, as an organization that's limited in funds, even though it's a big number, it's still limited when we look at 24,000 employees. The fact that we can really, with almost pennies on the dollar, give a service to our staff to allow them to be in, if not top form, better form, by being able to address some of these issues, I think is awesome. So I just want to applaud you and Superintendent, and their families too, absolutely, to applaud your efforts there in doing that. So.
Great, thank you, board members. I have one question. I do want to recognize also what Mr. Knudsen said in terms of the staff well-being and the investments related to that, and also the Northside Mobile mammography unit. I also want to applaud you at the efforts that you all have done around the holistic supports for our teachers. I want to just highlight some of what you said on slide number 3, where you have the a total of 8 in 2026 in January. There's a slight increase there, and it looks like that could be, when you look at from December to January, that could be related to maybe staff resigning or retiring during that period. And that looks like, when I look at the historical trends, because I don't have the other months to compare, I just wonder if you can speak to, from December to January, if you see that as a historical trend, where, I guess this is kind of similar to Mr. Knudsen's perspective as well, and what he was asking, but if you can shed more light around that.
I don't have the data in front of me, but I can tell you, at the break, people who are planning to not return, whether it's from becoming a new parent, they've gotten a promotion in another district, or they've relocated. We see that the breaks are planned, the ties, severing the ties with the district are planned so that they can see those students through the end of the semester, and then when they come back, they'll have a new teacher in front of them. So teachers do try to plan if they're going to transition, to try to do it when there is a natural break in the school year.
Thank you. And in light of that, we have teacher vacancy in the substitute report. I also have some concern related to if we have additional teachers who are on HB1 visas, and what the impact of that would have on these numbers as well, and in particular the need for those highly qualified, highly talented teachers who are on HB1 visas. We really need them. And I'm curious if we can get more answers around that from our staff.
I can tell you, Dr. Mosley, if you want to speak, but I can tell you we have been in conversation about just at a decision point on what is the district's position around sponsoring either green cards or citizenship. An H-1B visa, you can only renew twice. And so at that point, you have to make a decision if you're going to seek citizenship or a green card for permanent residence. the responsibility of the employer becomes greater at that point. And so we have been in conversations with legal counsel, as well as with the superintendent, just around what is the district's position. Around that, we are in close conversation with our staff who are on visas when they call and when they communicate with us, what they're expressing their interest in. I know that there's been an audience here twice, and I think they're here tonight to speak on the subject, but it's a weighted decision that we as an employer have to make, because the responsibility that goes with that sponsorship is significant on the employer. There's really nothing additional to add, but we are aware who those teachers are and what schools they sit in. When they call with questions, we do our best to support and answer those questions, and we work with our specialized attorney to ensure that we're handling those situations appropriately.
And have y'all examined the impact of those teachers not being, because I know some of these teachers are in our promise schools and in schools that really need them present and just reflecting the needs of the community and understanding the needs of the students. So I'm wondering specifically what is GCPS going to do to support it? I know you said it's a weighted decision. Maybe it's not up to you. Maybe it's.
Yeah,
I just know
it's not my
been
sole
a few.
decision. It is. We have not entered into these conversations lightly. We have had a couple of conversations with Mr. Pereira, with our specialized immigration attorneys as well. And so it is just a position that we have to figure out where do we stand as a district from a responsibility and liability perspective. Okay. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Oh, no, I gotta give the motion. So, board members, you have heard the monthly human resources report this afternoon in executive session that included a list of all employees being hired, taking a leave of absence, and terminating employment. I would like to call attention to the leadership appointments that were discussed in executive session and is being recommended to you for approval, along with the other personnel mentioned during executive session. We have one informational item. We are recommending Dr. Molly McAuliffe for the position of principal at Jackson Elementary School with an effective date to be determined. Chair Dr. Therese, I recommend approval of the monthly human resources report.
Board members, do I have a motion regarding the monthly human resources report?
I make a motion to approve the monthly human resources report.
Motion by Mr. Gasper. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Knutson. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. It's unanimous. Dr. Taylor?
At this time, we will have Chief Financial Officer Masana Mallard provide the monthly financial update. Chief Mallard.
Good evening, Chairperson Dr. Therese, board members Dr. Taylor. I am pleased to present the General Fund Financial Dashboard Report for the period ending November 30th, 2025, which represents the 5th monthly report for the General Fund for fiscal year 2026. Total revenues through November are approximately $1.46 billion, which is about 2% below budget. Local revenues totaled about $1.049 billion, coming in just about 3% below budget. As expected, the majority of property taxes, now that it's November, have come in as we anticipated. We've collected about 89% of the total property tax anticipated collections in terms of that levy to date. Approximately $989 million of the $1.1 billion that was budgeted. Local revenues also, as a reminder, include investments and indirect cost. State revenues total about $411 million, which is about 0.43% below budget, which is, you can say we're almost on budget on that one. And then federal revenues in the general fund are up. This is primary or ROTC reimbursements, and that's about 6.3% above budget. We'll continue to monitor the revenues through the end of the fiscal year, especially, making sure that we are going to be about 100% in our property tax collections in several months. Now, looking at expenditures, our salaries and benefits are approximately 7% below budget through November. Non-salary expenditures are about 16% below our budget, so this is all of your discretionary spending. Instructional services continue to represent the majority of our expenditures, about almost 81% of the actual expenditures. And this, of course, reflects our ongoing investments in the classroom and student support. Fund balance levels, of course, now strengthened. They've increased with our property tax collections, and so this will, of course, continue to fluctuate as the expenditures are incurred in the coming months, increasing over time. And then the expectation is that we get an influx, if you remember, towards the end of the fiscal year with our state QBE funds. So we'll be continuing to monitor now that we have a better idea of the collections so far to date with our revenues and our projected fund balance through the end of the fiscal year. But we are so far stable and in a strong position. And so we will continue to hopefully remain stable and strong through the rest of the fiscal year. This concludes my report, and Dr. Taylor, I turn it back to you.
Board members, any questions or comments?
Item 8.02 is the monthly financial report as of November 30th, 2025. The reports are from the financial records kept at the central office and do not include local school financial records that reflect receipts and disbursements at each school. It also includes a copy of our sales tax receipts for SPLOS 6. I recommend approval of the monthly financial report.
Board members, do I have a motion regarding the monthly financial report?
I make a motion to approve the November 30, 2025 monthly financial report.
Motion made by Mr. Knitzen. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Stone. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. It's unanimous. Dr. Taylor?
Item 8.03 on the agenda, 2022 through 2027 Building Program and Construction Report, is for your information only. This report is a listing of all construction projects funded by the 2022 through 2027 Building Program budget. It also provides the current status and scheduled completion date of each project. If any of you would like an update on a specific project, Interim Chief of Operations Patrick Burke can provide you with that information.
Any questions? No. Okay. We now move to student discipline. By law, matters related to student discipline appeals, expulsions, and petitions for readmission must be discussed in executive or closed session. Georgia law further requires board members to affirm in the public business meeting the action taken in executive session. The first item of business under student discipline is the monthly tribunal summary. Board members, do I have a motion regarding the monthly tribunal summary?
I make a motion to affirm the action taken in executive session regarding the monthly tribunal summary.
Motion by Dr. Simmons. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Stone. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. It's unanimous. Board members, do I have a motion regarding student expulsions as presented in executive session?
I make a motion to affirm the action taken in executive session regarding student expulsions.
Motion by Ms. Stone. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gasper, second. Is there any discussion?
I do have one discussion point. As we were discussing this instance, one of the things that came to mind for me is when we have students that are expelled from our school system, how we might continue to support them. One, because they could very well go on to complete their education in another district, whether it be online, or they may also be able to go on to graduate even. And so the question at hand for me is, how do we continue to support students? Is there a way that we can work with our county to perhaps provide a diversion program partnership just like a lot of townships and cities and counties provide traffic diversion programs, my thinking went toward how do we provide whole child supports so that when we have students that leave and exit the school system that are exhibiting behaviors that are concerning, that they're still supported. Because we don't just want to graduate students that are academically sound and exceptional, but we want to graduate students that are prepared for life and ready to contribute in a positive way, that are not going to do harm to themselves or others, that are going to contribute to society and not to be a burden to society. Because whether they graduate or not, if they still live in Gwinnett, there could still be implications if they're not wholly supported mentally, in addition to academically. So the question at hand for me was, is there a way to partner with our county to perhaps put a diversion program in place to support students, to further support students as they're navigating life and getting ready to enter society as adults? And perhaps even should we work on some type of policy to demonstrate our commitment to providing these additional wraparound supports for students.
Thank you, Dr. Simmons. I thought that was a great discussion as well. Does any of the board members have any questions or comments? All right, I have a motion. Oh, do I have a motion?
What's the discussion?
Oh, there was a, yeah. It's, all in favor say call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. It's unanimous. Dr. Taylor, old business.
During the December business meeting, the board approved the motion for policy BAAB, academic accountability, to remain on the table to provide additional opportunity for constituent feedback. Due to the student staff holiday break, we are requesting for policy BAAB to lay on the table until the February business meeting to provide additional time for additional constituent feedback. Chair Dr. Therese, I recommend that this policy, with revisions, be placed on the table until the February 19th, 2026 business meeting to provide constituents an opportunity for feedback.
Board members, you heard Dr. Taylor's recommendation. I need a motion for action.
I make a motion to have policy BAAB, academic accountability, lay on the table for an additional 30 days or our next scheduled board meeting, pending feedback. If revisions are needed following posting on our website, they will be presented for board consideration during the business meeting on February 19th, 2026.
Great. Motion made by Ms. Stone. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gasper. Is there any, Mr. Knitzen, any discussion?
Other than I think it's important that the community take the time to go out and look at this policy that is being posted on the website and provide their feedback. These opportunities are important for the board to hear what's important, what's on your mind and what's important, and we do take these considerations and like the motion mentioned, we will incorporate them into discussion topics on our end as well. So please take the time to do that. Thank you.
Dr. Taylor, can you share how the board will be provided the feedback from the community?
Yes, so in the February work session during the Mr. Gomez's legislative and policy update, at that time we'll share all the feedback that was provided.
Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. It's unanimous. Dr. Taylor, new business.
Board members, in the December 18th, 2025 work session, the results of the October 28th, 2025 GEMS Oversight Committee review of the academic knowledge and skills, revisions, additions, and recommendations were presented. As you heard in the work session, the committee reviewed the proposed edits and additions to the AKS standards that originated from the curriculum departments, and the input provided through the public review of those edits. The GEMS committee provided recommendations for the listed AKS that you are asked to approve this evening. I recommend approval of the proposed changes to the academic knowledge and skills curriculum as presented by the GEMS Oversight Committee.
Board members, do I have a motion regarding the GEMS Oversight Committee?
I make a motion to approve the updates and amendments to the academic knowledge and skills curriculum as recommended by the GEMS Oversight Committee.
Motion made by Ms. Stone. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Dr. Simmons. Is there any discussion?
Yes, very briefly, I had an opportunity to look through the work that the GEMS committee. One of the things I really appreciate is the comprehensiveness and representation from the district. There were not just clusters involved in this process, but there were also higher education representatives and people from the business community. There were 21 students across 17 high schools, and 25% were GCPS educators, and then 75% of this committee made up of parents, community members, education business partners. And some of the feedback that I gave during the work session, really appreciate the opportunity for high school students to be able to voice or have a voice in our AKS, which are our standards. So looking forward to the future. One thing I noted so there are in District 1, 3 high schools, Decula, Archer, and Grayson. There was one from Grayson. I would love to see some more representation from the Decula and Archer clusters.
Thank you. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. It's unanimous. Dr. Taylor, next item.
At this time, we're going to take a special point of privilege to thank Chair Dr. Simmons for her commitment, leadership, and service as the 2025 Chair for the Gwinnett County Public Schools. It's certainly a lot of work, and you represented the board extremely well during the year. In recognition of your dedication and contributions, we are honored to present the book Bean Sprout by Sarah Lynn Rowe, which you recommended to be shared with the 17 elementary schools in District 4. And so it's my honor to present you your copy of that book.
Thank you, Dr. Simmons, for your leadership and your continued leadership on this board. So really appreciate it. So look forward to reading Bean Sprout. Yes.
I just want to say it was an honor to serve as the chair for 2025. Our board accomplished quite a bit, from getting the ESPLOS vote to pass with nearly 70% approval, to launching our inaugural policy committee, as well as our family advisory council. So we accomplished much, and to this book, Bean Sprout, one of the reasons I selected it is because it teaches lessons around curiosity, perseverance, and problem solving, which are the competencies we've had to exhibit this past year. And so I just want to thank the team for all the hard work and the diligence over the year. And thank you, Dr. Taylor, as well, for working with our board to accomplish what we were able to make happen in 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will have constituents' comments regarding policy and our school operations. We would like to ask first Socorro Lee to please approach the podium closest to you, and next will be Jeremy Cavallero. You are on deck next. Socorro.
Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Dr. Taylor. I am speaking today not to attack teachers and not to relitigate individual cases, but to address a systemic failure that is causing real harm to students with disabilities and their families. This week, the situation at GSMST played out publicly on several news outlets. Mandatory retraining was ordered, but the lesson from that case is not about retraining. It is about what happens when systemic problems are ignored until harm becomes impossible to deny. Gwinnett County Public Schools has acknowledged staffing shortages. What has not been acknowledged is the legal reality that staffing shortages do not suspend federal or state law. Under IDEA, an IEP is not aspirational. It is a binding commitment. A shortage of personnel does not authorize the removal of supports, the quiet narrowing or altering of services, or the normalization of noncompliance. When supports disappear without notice, when services are reduced without prior written notice, and when families are told explicitly or implicitly that the district cannot meet their child's needs, that is not a training issue. That is a governance failure. GCPS policy is clear. If a school cannot implement an IEP, the responsibility does not fall on the individual teachers, and it does not fall on families to absorb the harm. The responsibility rests with the district to correct the deficiency through staffing, placement, or services promptly and transparently. Instead, families are experiencing silence, delay, and retaliation for advocating. Concerns are minimized. Due process is treated as escalation rather than a safeguard. Trauma is reframed as inconvenience, and in some cases, advocacy is not met with solutions, but with referrals to DFACS. That is not child protection. That is intimidation and retaliation, and it is not isolating. It is happening to families who are simply asking the district to follow the law. Let me be clear, accountability is not anti-teacher. In fact, the current approach harms educators as well. Teachers are being asked to build a bridge without materials, expected to meet needs without resources, and then blamed when the system fails. That is not leadership. GSMST should be treated as a warning. Mandatory retraining after harm occurs does not fix chronic understaffing, loss of experienced educators, or leadership gaps, especially in special education where the cost of failure is lifelong. If the district lacks staff, say so publicly and honestly. If the programs cannot be delivered as designed, pause them lawfully. If students require different placements or additional supports, initiate that process without forcing families into due process or exposing them to DFACS referrals simply for advocating. What cannot continue is the pattern of deny, delay, and quietly move on while families are left with lasting damage that never appears in reports or press releases. I am asking the board to do 3 things. First, require transparent reporting when IEP services are not delivered as written. Second, ensure staffing shortages trigger corrective action, not removal of supports. Third, publicly affirm that
Thank you. Jeremy Cavallero. Next on deck is Elizabeth Cavallero.
Good evening, everybody. Last school year, there were 368 incidents involving a weapon, 9 of which involved a gun. The gun number nearly doubled from the 23-24 school year, which saw a total of 402 incidents involving a weapon. Now, the reason I want to mention that is I'm extremely excited to see the low numbers for this school year when it's published. And I'm sure you all know this is the largest school district in America that's implemented permanent weapons detectors. This year, your safety program successfully installed weapons detectors in every one of our high schools, and middle schools are almost complete. The results have been undeniable. You didn't just add a layer of security, you added a layer of certainty. You proved that we could protect our students without compromising the warmth of a school environment. Now it's time to take that momentum and bring that same peace of mind to our most vulnerable students in elementary school. Now, when we talk about weapons detectors, we often focus on the hardware, but the real transformation happens in the mental health of our children. And I didn't think about this until I heard our daughter Jasmine practice her speech the other day, and so I revised mine. The implementation of weapons detectors is a positive investment in mental health, the same way you all support PBIS. It is a psychological fact. A child cannot learn if they don't feel safe. When a student walks through those doors knowing that their school is protected sanctuary, their cortisol levels drop and their focus shifts from survival to study. To put it in perspective, let's think about your own home and imagine you have a massive leaky roof, right? It clouds up, it starts to rain, you're putting buckets everywhere, you're listening to that constant little drip, drip, drip. When your roof's leaking, you can't relax. You can't enjoy a movie. You can't eat a meal. You're always looking at the ceiling, waiting for the next puddle. Your mental health in that house is shot. But the day a new roof is finished, you hear the rain and the shingles, and you just go, you're secure. Buckets are gone. By installing these weapons detectors in our elementary schools, we're fixing the roof. We're removing the metaphorical buckets of worry that our teachers and students carry every day. You guys have the blueprint. You have the proof of success from our secondary schools, and let's not wait for a storm to remind us why the roof needs fixing. Let's provide the youngest children in the school district with the same gold standard of safety we've given their older siblings. When our kids feel secure, they don't just attend school, they thrive in it. Let's keep this momentum going and get this done for our elementary schools now. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Elizabeth Cavallero. Next on deck is Jivankana Vadi, and if I mispronounce your name, please correct it.
Right. Good evening, members of the board, parents, and educators. I am here as a voice for elementary students whose safety is currently being left to chance. We want our schools to be sanctuaries of learning, but our current protections are failing. We must stop reacting to tragedies and start preventing them by investing in weapons detection and uncompromising access control. The most critical gap is our front door. Traditional metal detectors are slow and invasive, but modern AI systems like those used in Jefferson County, Kentucky, have proven their worth. After installation, that district saw firearm discoveries drop from 30 to 3 in a single year. This isn't just about catching weapons, it's about deterrence. When a student knows they will be caught, they leave the weapon at home. We often rely on human solutions, but humans fail under pressure. We are seeing this right now in the Uvalde trials, where nearly 400 officers waited 77 minutes while children called for help. Technology doesn't cower. Weapons detectors do not hesitate. It alerts authorities the second a threat appears, removing the fatal flaw of human error from the initial response. We cannot assume common sense at home will protect us. Look at the Appalachia High School tragedy. Colin Gray, whose trial begins next month, allegedly gifted his son an AR-15 despite knowing the boy was troubled and had been investigated by the FBI. Furthermore, Georgia law offers us little protection. We have no red flag laws to remove weapons from dangerous individuals and no state mandates for secure storage. Even the new 2026 School Safety Law Act fails to require weapons detectors. If the parents won't stop the guns and the law won't stop the guns, we must be the final line of defense. If we don't catch that weapon at the door, it's entering our classrooms. Finally, detection is useless if our back door is open. The Robb Elementary School shooter entered through an unlocked door. The Sandy Hook Advisory Commission found that not one active shooter has breached a locked exterior door. We must mandate that every door remains locked, ending the culture of propping doors for convenience and multiple key holders that can enter through any door. A lock is the only thing standing between a student and a gunman. The cost of this technology is high, but it's nothing compared to the cost of a life. I'm asking the board to authorize weapons detectors in elementary schools and conduct an immediate audit of our door hardware and access. Let's not be the district that looks back and says we should have done more. Thank you.
Thank you. Jivan Kant, Vadi.
Good evening, respected members of the board. My name is Jivan Kantwadi. I teach mathematics at Shallow Middle School, and tonight I represent a group of educators working for Gwinnett County Public Schools on H-1B visas. We are so thankful for the discussion we just heard between Mrs. Kathy Haddon and the members of the board. We are so grateful for GCPS support in sponsoring H-1B visas, which allows us to serve and impact our students and community. But today I would like to share concerns about our long-term ability to continue teaching here without green card sponsorship. First, without green card sponsorship, our H-1B visa expires in 6 years and our ability to remain employed ends. This creates uncertainty not only for us as educators, but also for the stability of the programs, students we serve, as well as our families. Second, our long-term employment stability is tied only to the H-1B visa, which is temporary. As a result, we constantly face uncertainty about whether we can continue building our careers and futures here in Gwinnett County. Third, the visa structure limits job mobility. Changing employers is an extremely complex process and often requires restarting visa filing all over again. Without green card sponsorship, these challenges are even greater, leaving us feeling locked into uncertainty rather than empowered to grow professionally as educators. Our dependents are also affected. Employment is not authorized for spouses on dependent visa until specific steps in the green card process are completed. As a result, we support our families on a single income. This financial strain impacts our children as well. Frequent relocations disrupt their education and emotional well-being. Finally, the challenges faced by educators on H-1B visa are significant. Many relocate and must learn a new education system from scratch. While we do so with dedication and commitment, long-term uncertainty makes this journey far more difficult than it should be. In conclusion, we respectfully ask for green card sponsorship as a pathway to stability, and this would allow us to fully invest in our schools, impact students, and continue serving GCPS without the constant fear that our time here could end due to visa limitations. Thank you so much for listening to our concerns and supporting for all the teachers. We would also like to submit a copy of our concerns of this presentation.
Thank you. You can submit it. If you can share it with us here, that would be great. Thank you. Our next speaker is Gosia Tanvir.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Taylor, and members of the community. My name is Gosia Tanvir. I'm a mathematics teacher at Sweetwater Middle School. And I'm speaking today once again on behalf of a group of dedicated GCPS educators working under H-1B visas. We appreciate the opportunity to follow up on the concerns we shared during the September and November board meetings regarding green card sponsorship. This matter is very important to us as it directly affects our job stability, our ability to continue serving our students, and the well-being of our families. As a group, we have demonstrated our strong commitment to GCPS through our work, service, and dedication to student success across our schools. Following our discussion with Human Resources last month, we were hopeful that progress was being made. However, we have not yet received any update regarding any decisions or next steps. For many of us, this year represents a critical point, as we must soon determine whether we are able to continue our work with GCPS or consider other opportunities if sponsorship is not available. Our sincere preference is to remain with GCPS and continue contributing to the district and its students. We respectfully request that GCPS consider sponsoring us and, if possible, provide guidance on any steps that may be taken moving forward. If helpful, we welcome the opportunity for principals to share recommendations reflecting the quality of our work and our contributions to our schools. We remain hopeful for a positive outcome very soon, as this remains a time-sensitive matter for us. And we look forward to continuing to serve GCPS students with dedication and stability for many years to come. Thank you for your time, consideration, and continued support. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jessica Jimenez, and next on deck after Jessica is Jessie Long.
Good evening to all of you. My name is Jessica Jimenez. I am a resident of Peachtree Corners. My son is currently in kindergarten, and we are hoping our daughter will be starting kindergarten come August. For decades, GCPS has allowed parents discretion in determining when a child is ready to begin kindergarten. This includes the longstanding practice of allowing children who are age eligible for first grade, but not yet developmental ready, to enroll in kindergarten instead. Last August, our son, who turned 6 in June, entered kindergarten at age 6. This decision was based on advice from our preschool and research that shows children with summer birthdays often benefit from additional time before entering formal academic instruction. Recently announced that effective this August, this longstanding practice will no longer be permitted, that children who turn 6 before September 1st will be required to enroll directly in first grade, eliminating the option for kindergarten even when families and educators believe kindergarten is the most appropriate placement. With this, our daughter, who will turn 6 this July, must skip kindergarten altogether and go straight to first grade. With this newly enforced policy, our children, born 13 months apart, both in different academic and emotional stages, will be in the same grade, a situation we never anticipated and would have planned differently had we been informed sooner. Parents have been left blindsided due to a severe lack of communication and transparency from the county. If the authorities had conveyed this change well in advance, parents could have made more informed decisions. Georgia's law states that children who are 6 are eligible for first grade, not that they are required. The law does not state a maximum age or that a child becomes too old for kindergarten. No districts are legally prohibited from placing a 6-year-old in kindergarten. So what is driving this, and why was there no heads up? We respectfully ask that Gwinnett County Board of Education and the district to adopt 2 to 3 year phased implementation of this policy change, allowing families time to adjust. This would allow families currently affected to proceed under the expectations that existed when their educational decisions were made, provide clear advance notice to families planning for future school years, restore trust through transparency and thoughtful policy rollout, ensure children are placed in learning environments aligned with their developmental readiness. Our community created a petition in support of what we are asking. In under a week, we have 1,100 signatures. This is a comment from a fellow Gwinnett resident. As a former educator and now parent, I fully respect and will comply with the policies set forth by the school board. However, implementing such a significant shift with little lead is both irresponsible and inappropriate. My concern is not with the policy itself, but with the timing of its implementation. A change of this magnitude warrants a thoughtful, phased rollout. Families deserve adequate time to adjust, and children deserve decisions made with careful consideration rather than urgency.
Thank you. We have Jesse Long. After Jesse is Jeremy Hendricks.
Good evening. My name is Jesse Long. I'm a Gwinnett County resident and the father of a 6-year-old first grader and a 4-year-old. I'm the son of a Gwinnett County teacher. My mother taught 25 years and retired from GCPS. I'm also the product of 5 different Gwinnett schools. Overcrowding forced GCPS to redraw the lines years ago and open up Peachtree Ridge High School. I attended Jackson Elementary, Creekland Middle for 6th and 7th grades, Hull Middle for 8th, Collins Hill for 9th, and Peachtree Ridge for 10th through 12th. I feel for those affected by the Archer Grayson rezoning, and I commend the board for their use of a multi-year communication plan to make sure everyone affected knows what is coming well in advance of the plan's start date. The multi-year communication plan is an approach I wish the county would take towards another subject, the subject of a poorly communicated plan around kindergarten and first grade age enforcement. My son turns 5 on September 1, 2026. Our plan up till now has been to put him in a kindergarten readiness program at a local preschool so that he is fully ready for kindergarten. Having a daughter in kindergarten last year, I know it has become much more intense than it was when I was in school. 2 months ago, we heard through the grapevine that this is not being allowed in Gwinnett any longer, and that if we move forward with our plan, he would automatically be placed in first grade the following year, bypassing the important kindergarten year altogether. So GCPS will make him start kindergarten as a 4-year-old in August to turn 5 a month later. He will undoubtedly be the youngest kid in his grade, if not the whole county. Nobody knows our son better than my wife and I, and the preschool teachers he spends every day with. My son is not ready for kindergarten. Forcing children into school before they're ready has a number of negative impacts. More attention will be taken away from the rest of the class, as already overloaded kindergarten teachers will have to devote more time with struggling students. Gwinnett has always been a leader with standardized testing. Forcing young children into school ahead of their readiness will reflect poorly in results and negative impacts to the child. Emotional maturity isn't where it should be when you start kindergarten as a 4-year-old. Students will feel discouragement when they fall behind, and that breeds a lack of confidence. Without a doubt, GCPS should change this policy. The decision on when to enroll should rest with the parents. This is by far the most equitable policy, too. Everyone will make the best decision for their child based on the family needs, their economic needs, and the readiness of their child. As the school board, you have an opportunity in front of you, the opportunity to back up your words that the student really does come first in Gwinnett. There are many eyes on this. Our petition has over 1,100 signatures, but there are over 11,000 families across the county that enroll in kindergarten each year. How have you communicated this sudden change to those families, or will they be blindsided by your about face like we were? Thank you.
Next, we have Jeremy Hendricks, and then Chelsea Hutchison.
All right.
Greetings and good evening, board members. I'm here along with a number of other parents, all trying to fix an issue of Gwinnett County's own creation. I ask, aren't there enough real problems here in Gwinnett County without us contriving our own? I'm here today to discuss the decision of the county to start enforcing an unwritten policy forcing these 6-year-olds into first grade before they're ready. The decision was short-sighted, and the county has only dug in their heels as these issues are pointed out. The first public documentation of this policy only came about in December 2025. Why were parents kept in the dark, and why did these administrators decide to start enforcing an unwritten policy after years of ignoring it? I ask you, board members, what is an unwritten and unenforced policy? It's imagination. So now we have a decision by the administration in Gwinnett to start enforcing imaginary rules without notifying anybody. Does the administration bother to admit their wrongs? Absolutely not. When faced with a call to action, they didn't work to fix a broken process. They didn't evaluate what was best for the kids. No, at this crossroads, they chose to use their time, energy, and effort to institute HR consequences for folks that allowed this to happen. Now we're left with the result that forces these young kids into the wrong classrooms with the added pain of an unnecessary SST process, one that will pull hours of time away from other students. These principals, assistant principals, teachers, and all other students will feel the detrimental effects of this policy. Classes will be disrupted, and hours will be spent doing paperwork so the county can show that, okay, the policy was being followed. But where is the benefit there? All these hours could have been used productively to help our kids grow, to help them succeed. Now, I have the highest respect for educators. I grew up, both of my parents were educators. I have various aunts, uncles, friends who all became educators. I have some of the most respect for these people. They're some of the most amazing and resourceful people I know. They can overcome almost any obstacle. The only obstacle they could never overcome was an unsupportive administration. Here we only have not an unsupportive one, but one actively creating roadblocks in their path to success. My request to the board is to help me get this administration out of the way. Help us allow the parents to decide what's best for their kids. Let's create a common sense process that doesn't leave these kids behind, affected by this knee-jerk change in policy. Let's also clarify the policy and publish it so parents know exactly what to expect, so that we're not subject to the whims and interpretations of county administrators who will change over the years. Guaranteed this policy will change again on a whim. Let's put the people over the process. Help me remove the red tape. Clear out this unnecessary bureaucracy. What we need to do is let the teachers teach, let the parents parent, and let's put the students first in Gwinnett County. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Chelsea Hutchings, and after Chelsea is Megan Pecci.
Public school is the only type of school available to all children. It is an anchor in our communities and the starting point for who we become as a society. Our children's school experiences help shape the kind of people they will grow into and the opportunities that will be available to them. That is why I am so passionate about inclusion, because the future will be largely determined by the success or failures of our public school system. Since today is the 100th day of the school year, and my two youngest dressed up like they were 100 years old for school, I thought it would be fitting to speak from the future, looking back at the choices we made for our children and the world they inherited because of them. When I am 100 years old, an undisclosed number of decades from now, there are things I hope to see the same and things I hope to see changed. I hope to see people continuing to fulfill their dream of becoming teachers, creating safe and welcoming environments for learning and growth. I want to see teachers who feel valued, supported, and confident in their ability to teach and support all learners. I imagine this will create a stronger culture of retention, a profession filled with seasoned educators who believe in the work and are not counting down the days to retirement. I hope segregated classrooms are a thing of the past. I hope to see classrooms designed to support all students where every child truly belongs and is educated. In those classrooms, future generations will learn empathy, service, and collaboration in ways that were not possible when some of their peers were excluded. I hope to see schools reaching beyond simple compliance and striving instead to serve each student well. When schools center the child, they don't just meet the standard, they raise it. These schools will be an example to the communities surrounding them. ADA compliance will no longer be everyone's low bar standard, but businesses, governments, and communities will be focused on ensuring that all community members feel like they belong. I hope to see diverse students supported and held to high expectations so they can pursue their own individual dreams rather than being limited to a narrow set of possibilities. We will see a level of success and involvement and satisfaction with life for all people unlike anything we could have predicted. And I hope to see the lasting influence of families, the most consistent presence in a child's educational journey, shaping a school system that responds to each student as an individual. Outcomes will be at an all-time high, not just in measurable numbers, but in the quality of friends, community members, employees, volunteers, family members, and leaders we have shaped. Now to rewind back to the present. The takeaway from all this is that the future doesn't begin decades from now. It begins with the policies you shape, the resources you allocate, the expectations you set, and the choices you make today. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Megan. After Megan is Missy Purcell.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Megan Pesci. I am a Gwinnett County community member, an educator, the director of a local preschool, and the parent of 3 children, 2 of whom currently attend Simpson Elementary. I am here to express serious concern about Gwinnett County's sudden and strict enforcement of age eligibility requirements that will require some children to enter first grade without ever attending kindergarten. Kindergarten is not optional. It is a critical developmental bridge. When children are pushed into first grade before they are developmentally ready, we set them up not for success, but for struggle. Our preschool community has a child who will turn 6 before September 1st. Because her parents chose to give her the gift of time, she is enrolled in our kindergarten readiness program this year. Under the district's sudden enforcement of age eligibility requirements, this child will now be forced to enroll directly into first grade next year, skipping kindergarten entirely. Her parents would have made a different decision had they known this policy would be enforced this way. Instead, this policy was enforced suddenly and quietly, without clear communication or advance notice to families or early childhood programs. As a result, this child, who is currently thriving and developmentally right where she should be, will lose the opportunity to attend kindergarten. I am also deeply concerned by guidance that multiple families report receiving from various administrators from within GCPS, that if first grade placement is not successful, parents should request referral to the Student Support Team, or SST. As a former special educator, I want to be very clear. This is not an appropriate solution. SST exists to support students with genuine learning or behavioral needs, not to correct a placement decision. Using intervention teams to address a developmental mismatch diverts limited resources from students who truly need them and risks labeling children as struggling when the real issue is that they skipped a foundational year. We should not be pushing children into intervention pathways when the developmentally appropriate solution is to allow them access to kindergarten. I respectfully urge the board to reconsider how these age eligibility requirements are being enforced, to provide flexibility for families impacted by this very sudden shift, and to ensure that kindergarten remains accessible to the children who need it most. Thank you very much for your time this evening and for listening on behalf of our youngest learners.
Next, we have Missy Purcell, and after Missy, we have Catherine Russo.
Good evening, members of the board and district leadership. I'm here because this district has a pattern problem, and it's no longer deniable. This week in the news, I'm sure you saw, a Gwinnett parent was vindicated when the state found the district out of compliance for failing to implement a student's IEP. This is not an isolated incident. I personally filed 4 complaints against Gwinnett County Public Schools in 2020 and 2021. Same district, same failures, similar violations, same results. A PowerPoint training for special education team, and then back to business as usual. When the same issues appear across schools, across years, and across families, this is not a school problem, it's a district problem. It tells us bad guidance, or at best, unclear guidance, is flowing from the top down. It tells us that schools feel empowered to ignore IEPs, to write plans that aren't truly individualized, to withhold specially designed instruction, to deny students the least restrictive environment, and to operate without proper training, to treat the law as optional. IEPs are not suggestions. They are not menus. They are not if we can. They are legal documents created by teams, including parents, based on evaluations of a child's needs. They exist to ensure that a child can access education. And yet I have sat in meetings in this very districts where leaders have said, we don't do that here, or we don't offer that here, for accommodations and individualized plans for students. Yes, in this district, even after those schools had complaints filed against them and they had to go through training. Those words should never be spoken by a public school employee in an IEP meeting, because what that means is we have a predetermined the limits of our services. We will not individualize and we will not comply. And by the way, that is illegal. We are now seeing this play out again with the red shirting issue that we've heard over and over tonight. IEP teams have made decisions for preschoolers with IEPs. Now those same families are being told, children with IEPs, we don't make exceptions. Even with your child with an IEP, you must skip kindergarten. Yes, that's in writing and from an administrator in this county. That's not individualized, guys. That's not a team decision. That's bad guidance, and it will result in more state complaints. This is not the first time that Gwinnett or GMST has faced state findings. This is a dangerous belief that if a child is bright, gifted, or capable, they don't need accommodations. But an IEP says otherwise. GMST is a public school. That law follows the kid. Talent does not erase disability. Placement does not cancel support. Every single staff member, general ed and special ed, must understand the law in this county, not just what it says, but why it exists. They must understand that their obligation is not convenience, it's not just compliance, it's for these children. This is systemic, and systemic problems require systemic solutions, because what's happening right now isn't just non-compliance, it's children being punished, it's children being segregated, it's children being denied the right to read, it's children being denied an education, and it's happening here in Gwinnett over and over again. We have named the problem, and we need you to act.
Thank you. Next, we have Catherine Russo. After Catherine is Eric Fonville.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Russo. I'm a retired Gwinnett County public school teacher with 50 years of education experience. I spoke last month at the December board meeting about my concerns over the newly enforced age requirements and limits for placement in kindergarten and first grade. I'm back tonight because I do not feel that my concerns are being addressed or even taken seriously. Children are human beings, not products. They come in all shapes and sizes with varying gifts and needs. They do not fit into the same mold. Therefore, their individual readiness for school should be the main factor when considering their grade placement, not merely their age. Recently, I spoke to a gentleman in the superintendent's office about my concerns. He basically told me that it's neither important nor necessary for a child to attend kindergarten. If kindergarten's not important, then why do we have it? I, however, disagreed with him. He then told me that we have the option of pulling my grandson out of the pre-K program that he loves, placing him in kindergarten with a mere 4 months of school left. The other option we have, he said, is registering for first grade in the spring, even though he has never attended kindergarten. He would start the year in a first grade class, go through the lengthy SST process, and then be put back into a kindergarten class based on the findings of the SST. Now I ask you, is this what is best for this child? Children obviously do better with consistency and should never be placed in an environment after the school year has already started. Why are we not doing what is best for each child right from the start? Gwinnett County has recognized the importance of delaying the start of school for certain students, at least since I began teaching in Gwinnett in 1990. When I first began my career in this county, we even had a readiness program for those students who needed an extra year of maturity before starting first grade. The other issue is transparency or lack of it. If we had known this policy was going to be enforced, we most likely would have made a different decision for our grandchild last fall. I'm asking you to please consider your stance on this issue. At the very least, consider delaying the enforcement until the 27-28 school year so that the children affected by this have the opportunity to attend kindergarten prior to entering first grade. Give these kids the same advantage that all the other Gwinnett students have had. Please do what is best in the interest of every child. And please do not ignore my concerns and concerns of others whose children are impacted by this policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Eric Fonville. After Eric Fonville, Tanisha Banks.
They had to leave early. Yeah, the Cub Scouts, so.
Okay, Tanisha Banks.
Good evening, board members. Tonight I want to talk about the 16 failing schools and what the 2025 CCRPI data is really telling us, using an analogy we all understand. Improving our schools is like peeling back an onion. On the surface, Gwinnett looks strong, our averages look good, our reputation looks good, but when we peel back the layers, we expose the gaps, and yes, it burns. But that burning is not harm, it's clarity, it's truth, and truth is what allows healing and growth. The 2025 CCRPI data shows that while Gwinnett performs well overall, we're not closing achievement gaps at the same pace as the state of Georgia. Our Closing the Gap scores trail the state across elementary, middle, and high schools. That means Black and Hispanic students and students with disabilities, English learners, and economically disadvantaged students are not meeting growth targets at the same rate as their peers. Those gaps are most visible in our failing schools. Metro Atlanta systems like Fulton County and Atlanta Public Schools are outperforming Gwinnett in closing the gaps because they intentionally target subgroup growth, equity, accountability, and intervention. Gwinnett continues to rely on averages, and averages hide inequity. Closing the gaps is not about blaming schools, it's about exposing where systems are not serving children the way they should. And yes, that exposure can burn. But, like an onion, the tears mean we are finally seeing what is real. When Black and Hispanic students and students with special needs continue to trail in literacy, math, graduation readiness, and access to opportunity, we cannot call that excellence. Closing the gaps requires us to confront staffing equity, special education services, intervention quality, culturally responsive instruction, and accountability across every level. And respectfully, this level of change cannot happen with status quo leadership. Unfortunately, majority of these failing schools were in the district of the current interim superintendent, Dr. Taylor, when he was cluster superintendent, as well as the old leadership, which is no longer here. These same failing schools have been failing for many, many, many years. Thus, the continued advocacy from Dr. Therese for over 7 years, since 12 of the 16 schools are in her district. Gwinnett needs a superintendent who is not afraid to peel back every layer, not to protect systems, but to protect students. It is all about closing the gaps. And until we are willing to peel the onion, even when it burns, we will never fully heal what is underneath. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, time for comments.
Thank you, Chairwoman, Dr. Therese. I just want to thank everyone for coming. Have a lot of notes ahead of me, and I just want to take a point of personal privilege and just communicate how much I appreciate everyone coming and making their voices heard, whether they came here today in person or over email or phone calls, wherever you choose to communicate with your board representatives. It does make a difference. So I look forward to what's next and the work ahead of us.
Thank you all for coming tonight, and thank you for your comments. We do appreciate it, and like Ms. Stone said, it's helpful and allows us to find the ways to respond and to make decisions for all 180,000 kids in Gwinnett County. I just wanted to also highlight the GEMS process, which was our 30th year of working with our community representatives, stakeholders, in looking over our AKS, which is our academic knowledge and skills and is the backbone of what we teach here in Gwinnett. And so another successful round of the GEMS process. I also wanted to highlight that we met with our legislative delegation, the Gwinnett delegation, earlier this week, and had the opportunity to share with them some of the things that they could do to help us. I know that oftentimes there's a lot said about IDEA and what's required of it. One of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that we spend about $400 million a year. I mean, we spend about $400 million a year on IDEA programs, and only about 8% of that is covered by the federal government. So there's a huge gap in IDEA funding. Not that that's an excuse, it has to come from somewhere. It comes out of our general budget, but the same people who ask us or require of us to do certain things don't always partner with us the way that they should, and so we end up with a lot of unfunded mandates. So it was important to talk to the legislative delegation about some of those things and some ways that they can help us and hopefully shore up and spread the burden among more people. One of the things that we were accused of is having lower performance. Well, the administrative state is alive and well, and that administrative state keeps teachers from teaching. It makes them data collectors. And so every time that they ask us to do something new, it comes with a mandate. It has to be done somewhere. It has to be covered somehow by someone, and that there's a cost associated with that. And so we just like to have them help us in some of those different ways. So we had a good, honest, and frank conversation with them. I would also say congratulations to Dr. Therese. Although one of the things that I do want to remind us is, and I know that we're always into change these days, but each one of us serve as one individual board member and have no more power than the others. This will now be the third time in 5 years that Dr. Therese will be the chairperson of our board. District 3 has not had representation on leadership for most of the last 6 or 7 years. It is an honor to serve as the vice chair and the chairperson of the board, and it should rotate. I was disappointed that somehow we didn't get either District 3 or District 1 into a vice chair role so that they could rotate into the chair position a year from now. So I would just like to call that out, because we're here to work together as a team, and we should do that and reflect that as opportunities for leadership are presented to us. Thanks again for coming out. Hope you all have a great evening.
Yeah, thank you all for coming out tonight. I wanted to, really make a point to support the presentation on our human resources report tonight, and I'm so glad that we brought this forward to our business meeting, because it is important for the community to see the great work that our team does behind the scenes to recruit our teachers and our paraprofessionals and our substitutes that are in front of our students day in and day out, and to show the true data behind all of the hard work that they've done year over year, and just to show the improvement that we have produced. Really the data tonight just really speaks for itself. So that was just, I'm happy to see that, and all the work that the team does to recruit and retain our wonderful employees, and especially the staff well-being component to take care of our folks that do take care of our students each and every day. I was, excited to see the Cub Scouts in the back, and I'm really sad to have to see them leave early tonight. I was looking for them to walk up to the podium. They have there's a tender spot in my heart for them. I was a former Boy Scout. My son's a Boy Scout. I was hoping they'd come up and speak. So if they're listening, you guys give me a call. I'm happy to answer. They put a question on the docket tonight. I'm happy to answer your question tonight. So it is important. they work towards merit badges. One of them tonight, they were here for citizenship, which means they have to meet with an elected official and ask them specific questions to earn their merit badges. So that was pretty cool for them to be here tonight, and I'm glad they took the time out. Obviously, they go to school tomorrow, so I realize they're not going to hang out until 9:30, 10 o'clock like our meetings typically go to tonight. So, and in closing, to our community members that came out tonight from Simpson and from my district, thank you for keeping my inbox full. I appreciate that. I read have read every single one of your emails, as short and as long as they are, and hopefully I've responded to every single one of your concerns. And this is certainly a hot topic, and one that, personally, being a parent, hits close to home. And for me, being a parent and having a say in my child's education is truly important. And so I truly feel and understand and can appreciate where you guys are all coming from. And our work is not over. So please don't consider anything that you have all said tonight as us not listening to what is going on. I will tell you, if you guys haven't seen it yet, we are going to host the leadership down at the school at Simpson Elementary on January 21st at 6 o'clock, somewhat of an informational session. And hopefully by then, maybe we'll have some more information to share with you. So please mark your calendars. Please come out. I am going to make a point to be there personally too, just to meet with you all and just to be present, along with district leadership too. So that's all I'll say at the moment. At that point, I know we'll have some more information following. I'm sure the principal has shared additional information with you. But again, from one parent to another, just know that I've read your emails. I've listened to everything you've had to say. I wholeheartedly agree. I have some questions of my own, and I'm going to get some answers for you all. So thank you for being here and taking the time out of your evening. I know it's late. Your voice has been heard, and I do appreciate it. I'm going to hang out for a little bit after the meeting if you want to come up and ask any specific questions. If I can't answer them, I'm going to direct you to someone that can. So thank you again.
Thank you all for attending this evening. I want to first congratulate Dr. Therese Johnson Morgan on being selected as our board chair for 2026. We followed the long-standing tradition of voting for our chair and vice chair, and I stand by that tradition. And note that there is no requirement that you be a vice chair before you're selected as chair. I was not a vice chair before being voted as chair, and I'm sure we'll be in great hands under your leadership once again this year, so congratulations. I would also like to note that we did have an opportunity to meet with our Gwinnett County delegates just, I believe, last week, and a very high priority for our board and some of the representatives and I believe senators alike are one of the priorities is for us to update the quality basic education formula. It has not been changed or updated in 40 years, about the 40th year anniversary, which means that Georgia schools are still being funded in the same way they were funded 40 years ago. That's a problem. It probably explains a lot. It explains why we have issues with special education not being followed to a T and not providing support services for students in the way they should be served. It can explain why what we saw with our CCRPI report on Tuesday, why we continue to have gaps in our performance. And I just want to be really clear about what those gaps indicate. So for years, for decades, Gwinnett, to my understanding, before I got on the board has conflated data where we did not have a disaggregation to see how separate subgroups of students were performing academically. Well, now we have a board that is very much driven by data, as you'll see in our board core beliefs and commitments. We're data informed in our decisions, and a part of that process entails us disaggregating the data and seeing how students are performing. So on the whole, it looks like Gwinnett has been doing pretty standard, pretty solid, and I commend the leaders and the teachers and the parents that have helped us to accelerate and maintain achievement for our high performers, which our disaggregated data shows are our Asian and white students. Well, we see that we have a gap when it comes to our other groups of students, our multilingual learners, Black students, Hispanic students, special education students. And not only do we have a gap, but what the report showed for us on Tuesday is that the gap is widening. It's getting wider. That's not the case in some of our partnering school districts. They're closing the gap. We're not doing that just yet in Gwinnett, but I have hope that we will do it, that we can do it, and we will do it. So I wanted to make sure I elevated that. And also, when we think about the Promise Schools list, we do have year to year where the state is identifying schools across the state of Georgia performing in the lowest quartile, the lowest according to academic achievement. We have 15 schools that have been identified this school year on that list, and most of them are in Dr. Teresa's district, which was noted earlier. Well, another fact pertaining to the district that she represents, many of those schools have high multilingual learner populations where they exceed the county average. So we know that there is a gap there and that needs to be addressed as it pertains to better meeting the needs of particular subgroups of students. I want to wrap up just by saying that I continue to believe that we can aspire and do more to support our students in a way where they are all successful in meeting their full potential. I know it's not easy work. I've worked in education, have been serving in education for over 20 years. It's definitely not easy. I commend those who similarly believe that all students can achieve at high levels. That's where it starts, with the belief. So I commend anyone who continues to hold that belief and puts the work behind that belief. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Therese.
Thank you. I first want to thank our community members who came out to speak tonight, and thank you to our staff for your presentations and your continued support and work to continue to ensure that our school system is meeting the needs of each and every child. Thank you to our board also for your support. And I also want to share that even though we may not always agree as a board, we have different perspectives, we have very diverse opinions, and I always believe in strength and diversity and the need for us to also respect one another and our voices. And we don't have to always agree, and sometimes we do have to make some difficult choices, but it's important for us to, whatever we do, to center the needs of each and every child. That is one of our #1 core beliefs and commitments, is to make sure that every decision focuses on centering the needs of each and every child. And our board leadership and our superintendent search process is part of making sure that we are ensuring that commitment around continuing board leadership around that process to ensure that we can continue to work with the exceptional team that we have as a board, and also the Alma group as well, who is working with us very closely around this process. And we're participating and planning on participating in some anti-bias training. We're looking into Also focusing on finding a courageous leader who is innovative, who can help close the gaps, as Dr. Simmons and our board mentioned, and community comments as well, around really being resolute in closing the gaps. I know over the years, people didn't understand why I advocated so much for District 5, in particular, a high multilingual population. And now the data is showing it. The data is showing it because we have been more transparent and we have demanded disaggregation of the information. And only then, when we look at the disaggregated data, then we can see where we can target our investments. So speaking of our investments, the conversation we had with our legislators was also very helpful. And we are, as a board, we're committed to ensuring that we're, have good communication with our legislators and that we're engaging with them in a way that, again, centers the needs of our children. Dr. Simmons mentioned earlier about updating the QBE formula. That was a part of the conversation that we discussed. Part of that update of the QBE formula has to consider students with disabilities, has to consider lower income families, rural communities, MLL learners, and with the hopes of really making sure that we are meeting the needs of each and every child. We're reducing class sizes, we're supporting our teachers. That is something that we need to do, and I request for our community members to please reach out to your legislator, because we need our legislators to vote for this. Reach out to your legislators, send them an email, call them, demand that we update the QBE formula, because the educational investments are really critical for the success of our school system and making sure that we are meeting the needs of our children, and in particular closing gaps. We also talked about investing in mental health care, and I'm looking forward to continuously seeing what our legislators would do around mental health care supports. And then we also talked about investments in literacy and early learning, like pre-K. And so those are things that I'm very hopeful that we can continue to work with our legislators. Again, I implore our community members to please reach out to the legislators and ask them to support investments around early literacy. Look at our what do you call it, gambling, whatever, lottery system, and even using that to help fund. And I know that was part of that conversation, but again, that's something that's we can use to continue to invest in early literacy. The other thing I want to share is it is important for us in this time, and I always talk about how what's happening in our world and our community does impact our students in the classroom, and we can't ignore it, and we can't gaslight the experiences of people. And it's important for us to work together as a community, stand for one another, stand by one another, protect one another, continue to make sure that we're creating environments where our students feel belonging. Many of them have a lot of insecurities, and many of them have a lot of fears. They're bringing that in the classroom. Again, I encourage other students, our teachers, our administrators to really look at and care for our children and hold them near and dear, because these times are very difficult for some of them. And I just want to continue to, encourage our community to do the right thing. And sometimes it might not be comfortable for us, but it's important for us to understand how we are all connected. So even though I might not experience something in the same way, it doesn't mean that it won't impact me in the future, or it's not indirectly impacting me. So we're all connected. My problem is your problem. And so I stand committed, and I also encourage you all to please stand with one another and by one another and for one another, especially during these difficult times. History is repeating itself. We have to learn from what is happening in history and continue to look at ways on how we can speak truth, how we can do the right thing, not what's just beneficial to us, not for personal agendas, not for personal power, not for politics, but for the purpose of meeting the needs of each and every child. Thank you. Dr. Taylor?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Teresa. And I just be brief and always want to open with thank yous first and foremost. Thank you, Dr. Simmons. I know you stepped in and took on a leadership role that was probably a lot more work than you anticipated, but you did it with grace and you did it with class, and you led the board well. And certainly congratulations to you, Dr. Teresa, and look forward to working with you. Extend those thank yous to the constituents who have stayed, those who've shared. We definitely appreciate you sharing. Especially the critical feedback. That's the only way we get better. And so I actually look forward to hearing it, every month to find out where the spaces are that we have opportunities to improve. And we're always committed to trying to get better every day, a little bit better than the day before. Definitely want to also extend a huge thank you to staff across the district who poured into allowing us to have another very smooth opening to the school year. It means a lot. It helps to really stabilize the district when we know that we can trust that our buses are going to be, ready to go and on time, and staff are going to be ready to receive students. So I definitely want to appreciate all the work that goes into an opening. We're right in the middle. We opened the second semester, and we're already thinking about next year. So this is budget season, so we're in the budget development process now. We definitely encourage as much feedback, from the community as possible. We're very excited about the work that's happening, really thinking differently about how we resource schools. And so we're going to be trying some really innovative things to ensure that the appropriate level of resources go to where they're most needed. Finally, and it's often commented on in board meetings about our CTAE program. I think I would put our CTAE program up against anyone in the nation. Well, it doesn't just happen. There's obviously a large group of individuals who go into that work, but there is, did want to take a special point of privilege. There's one individual who has really poured heavily into our CTAE program and really gave so much of his own personal time and energy and resources and knowledge. And so Tim Hebens, of course, is retiring at the end of this month, and didn't want to miss an opportunity just to publicly thank him for the tremendous work that's happened in that CTAE space. It's certainly legacy work, so your fingerprint has been on it, and we will certainly do you proud moving forward, but we wish you well in your next steps, and thank you for all that you've done for Gwinnett County Public Schools. All right, Dr. Teresa, turn it back to you.
All right, thank you all. Thank you for attending tonight's board meeting. If there's no further business, I need a motion to adjourn the board meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Dr. Simmons, seconded by Ms. Stone. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. It's unanimous. Thank you all for attending tonight's board meeting. The board, Interim Superintendent Dr. Taylor, and I appreciate your attendance and interest in Gwinnett County Public Schools. As our public meeting has concluded, this facility will be closing in 20 minutes. Thank you for being with us tonight. Drive home safely, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.